Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Literary Lore. Today I'll be taking a look at the second half of Fences. The original script is in the description, but I'll be showing off a few scenes from the film, like we did last episode. This is your spoiler warning for an exceptional film with incredible performances. We just left Act 1 with one strike. Corey finally snapped at his dad, and the tension hangs over Act 2. As a quick reminder, Troy has been cheating on his wife. Rose, with Alberta, and Bono, his friend, has been trying to tell him he's making a mistake. Act 2, Scene 1 opens with Corey telling Rose he doesn't want to quit football. Troy arrives and explains he just bailed Gabriel out. You see the police had arrested him for disturbing the peace. Naturally, when talking to Bono, they speculate that the cops keep arresting Gabe because he doesn't put up much of a fight, and they get an easy $50. During a moment where Troy and Bono are alone, Bono brings up Alberta again. He's worried that they'd done got tight. Troy still denies he's formed a relationship with Alberta before Bono can press further. Corey returns, and they set to work on the fence. This is an important moment, where Bono spells out what the titular fence is as a symbol. You see, for people like Troy, fences are only used to keep people out. All his life, he's been told no. He's been hit with disappointment all throughout his life and denied his dreams. He put up his own barriers, his own fences, emotionally, unwilling to tell his son he loves him or even likes him. But Bono explains that sometimes people build fences to keep things they love close. That Rose loves him. Troy immediately brushes off the comment, which is of course Bono trying to warn him about Alberta. It's worth knowing that thanks to his talk earlier with Corey, we know Troy is more worried about people wrongfully taking from him than to show appreciation to what he has. Troy sends Corey to find a tool to more directly respond to Bono. He finally admits he has been seeing Alberta, and that he doesn't have an excuse, that it grew from nothing. Then he admits that she's stuck for good. Bono tells Troy he needs to make it right, not quite understanding what he means, and eventually they leave after some banter. Now you may recall that Bono is just the nicest guy. He's good-hearted, loving, essentially Troy's Jiminy Cricket. But throughout the play, Bono even tells Troy about how he inspired him and encourages him that he's a good man. But after all the years together, Bono sees his friend betraying a good woman. So this all leads to what may be some of the best 8 minutes of acting I've seen in a film, so I'll just let that run.
I'll be your daddy. Yeah, I'm gonna be somebody's daddy.
Troy, you ain't telling me this. You gotta be what? You gotta be somebody's
Rose.
daddy. You're telling your wife.
Now,
Troy! Hey, Rose!
I gotta wait 18 years to hear something like this.
Hey, Rose. I got a flower for you. But that's a rose, the same rose like you is.
Thanks, kid.
Troy, you ain't mad at me, is you? Them bad men come and put me away. You ain't mad at me, is you?
No, I ain't mad at you.
18 years and you wanna come with this?
See what I got? Got a brand new quarter.
Rose, it's just that.
Ain't nothing you could say, Troy. No way
Yeah.
explaining that.
The fella that give me this quarter had a whole mess of them. I'm gonna keep this quarter till it stops shining.
Gabe, go on up front now. I got some watermelon in the refrigerator. Go on. I'll get you a piece.
Say, Rose, you know, I was chasing hellhounds and them bad men come and get me and take me away. And Troy helped me. He come down there and told them they better let me go before he beat them up. Yeah, he did.
Go on up front now, Gabe. I'll get you some watermelon. All right? Them bad men's gone now.
Okay, Rose gonna give me some watermelon, the kind with the stripes on it.
Why, Troy? Why? After all these years, come dragging this in to me now. It don't make no sense at your age. I could expect it this 10, 15 years ago. Why not now?
Age ain't got nothing to do with it, Rose.
I'm trying to be everything a wife should be. Everything a wife could be. I've been married 18 years, and I got live to see the day you tell me you've been seeing another woman and then fathered a child by her. And you know I ain't never want no half nothing in my family. My whole family is half. Everybody got different fathers and mothers. My two sisters, my brothers. You could hardly tell who's who. Could never sit down and talk about papa and mama. It's always your papa, your mama, my papa, my mama. And I ain't never wanted that for none of my children. And now you want to drag you behind in here and tell me something like this?
Stop it now. You ought to know. It's time for you to know.
Well, I don't want to know. Damn it!
Rose, I just can't make it go away. It's done now. I can't wish the circumstances of the thing away.
And you don't want to either. Maybe you want to wish me and my boy away. Maybe that's what you want. Well, you can't wish us away. I got 18 years of my life invested in you. You ought to have stayed upstairs in my bed where you
Now,
belong.
listen to me. We can get a handle on this thing. We can talk this out, come to an understanding.
All of a sudden, it's we. Where was we at when you were down there rolling around with some godforsaken woman? We should come to an understanding before you start making a damn fool of yourself. You're a day late and a dollar short when it comes to an understanding with me.
Rose, it's just that she give me a different idea, a different understanding about myself. I can step out this house and get away from the pressures and the problems, be a different man. I ain't got to worry about how I'm gonna get the roof fixed or pay the bills, or I can just be a part of myself I ain't never been before.
What I want to know is... What I want to know is, do you plan to continue seeing her? That's all you can say to me.
I can sit up in a house and laugh. You understand what I'm saying? I can laugh out loud, and it feels good. It reaches all the way down to the bottom of my shoes, Rose. I can't give that up.
Maybe you ought to go on and stay down there with her. Is she a better woman than me?
It ain't about nobody being a better woman or nothing, Rose. You ain't to blame. A man couldn't ask for a better wife than you've been. I'm responsible for it. I done locked myself into a pattern trying to take care of you all that I forgot about myself.
What the hell was I there for? That was my job, not somebody else's.
Rose, listen to me. I done tried all my life to live decent, to live a clean, hard, useful life. I try to be a good husband to you in every way I know how. Maybe I come into the world backwards. I don't know, but you're born with 2 strikes on you before you come to the plate. You got to guard it closely, always looking for the curveball on the inside corner. You can't afford a call strike. You can't let nothing get past you. If you're going down swinging. Everything lined up against you. What you gonna do? I fooled them, Rose. I bunted. When I found you and Corey in a halfway decent job, I was safe. Couldn't nothing touch me. I wasn't going to strike out no more. I wasn't going back to the penitentiary. I wasn't going to lie in the street with a bottle of wine. I was safe. I had me a family, a job. I wasn't going to get that last strike. I was standing on first base, waiting for one of them boys to knock me in to bring me home. I saw the gal. She firmed up my backbone. I got to thinking that if I tried, maybe I could steal second. You understand what I'm saying? I just wanted to steal second. I stood on first base for 18 years, and I thought, well, damn it, go on for it.
We ain't talking about baseball. We're talking about you going off and laying up with another woman and bringing her home to me. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about no baseball.
You're not listening to me. I'm trying to explain it to you the best way I know how. It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life, too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you. Don't you think I ever wanted other things? Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? Don't you think it ever crossed my mind to want to know other men that I wanted to lay up somewhere and forget about my responsibilities? That I wanted someone to make me laugh so I could feel good. You're not the only one who's got wants and needs, but I held on to you, Troy. I took all my feelings, my wants and needs and dreams, and I buried them inside you. I planted a seed and watched and prayed over. I planted myself inside you and waited to bloom. It didn't take me no 18 years to realize the soil was hard and rocky and it wasn't never gonna bloom. But I held on to you, Troy. I held you tighter. You was my husband. I owed you everything I had, every part of me I could find to give you. And upstairs in that bedroom with the darkness falling in on me, I gave everything I had to try and erase the doubt that you wasn't the finest man in the world, and wherever you was going, I was gonna be there with you because you was my husband. Because that's the only way I was gonna survive as your wife. You're always talking about what you give and what you don't have to give. But you take too, Troy. You take and don't even know nobody's giving.
Say I take and don't give.
Troy,
you
you
say
hurt me.
I take and don't
Troy,
give.
you hurt my arm.
I
Let
don't give
go.
you everything I got. Don't you tell that lie
Troy,
on me. Don't you tell that lie on me.
Troy, you hurt me. Troy, Troy.
All right. That's strike two. You stay away from around me, boy. Don't you strike out. You living with a full count.
Now that is a climax. As a teacher going over this play in class, there'd be a day where I would see this scene like 7 times, and it never got old. Viola Davis was awarded a ton of accolades for this role, including a Golden Globe and Oscar. But enough of that. Let's analyze on what you just saw. He's gonna be a daddy. He finally reveals his affair, not out of guilt, necessarily, but because it would be pretty hard to skulk around while carrying a newborn. Gabriel's interruption is a deft tactic. By having him appear moments after Rose learns the truth, the audience has to stew in the revelation, anticipating how she'll respond. His otherwise mundane words help to build the tension, which snaps as soon as Gabe is away. As Rose's world falls apart, Troy tries to justify his actions. He doesn't really apologize, instead just trying to explain why he enjoyed being with her. As their communication breaks down, he reverts to baseball metaphors to show how incapable of communication he really is. And when he gives the excuse that he felt stuck, Rose unleashes her own pain in response. She reveals that she also faced temptation, but that she took any doubt and dream she had and put that hope in him. She describes it as a seed, praying and watching over it and seeing that it wasn't going to bloom. A brutal assessment of her own life, but she says she held on to him tighter. She respected their bond as husband and wife and found joy in it. And then she points out that he's always been focused on what he's required to give without considering what he takes. And of course, Troy has no idea what that actually means. And this enrages him. And it leads to Corey having to protect his mom. So with strike 2 in the books, we skip ahead 6 months. Act 2, Scene 2 has a series of reveals showing where all the chips land after the previous setup. Troy has been leaving his family every night to be with Alberta, and they now know that's the case. Rose informs Troy that he apparently signed papers that had Gabriel committed to an asylum. Focusing on Gabriel for a moment here and Troy's interaction with him and everything, Troy can't read. So it is very possible that he was simply tricked into signing those papers. But there's a moment a few scenes from now that points out that Troy accepted responsibility of Gabriel and was given a large sum of money by the government to take care of him. So essentially, he took that money, the money that was meant for Gabe, and he used it to buy his house. The house that he lorded over was bought with the paltry payment for a veteran's wound. The man that emphasized needing to provide for one's family was unable to do so on his own. Remember in the first episode when he described wrestling with death? Rose said he was exaggerating his bout of pneumonia. Moments later, he made up a story about a deal with the devil to afford furniture. The parallel to him accepting Uncle Sam's "sorry we blew up your head" money feels like it could be the inspiration for that tale. But now he's signed off for Gabriel to be committed, he still gets a cut of Gabe's check without the responsibility. Troy's selfish streak would certainly serve as an ample explanation as well. But that night, Alberta gives birth. I'm gonna let the scene play out. Well, Alberta never appears in this story. She's less a character and more of a plot device. We don't know anything really about her except that she was attractive and the parent of this motherless baby. She was a means for Troy to escape from his responsibilities, and because of his own choices, he's now gained a massive responsibility. You may also notice that in that last scene, he doesn't pray to God. He speaks to death specifically. He makes his bargain and finally decides to build his fence, not for the purpose of keeping his loved ones in, but keeping death out. In the following scene, Troy holds the baby, Raynell, while sitting on the porch steps. He's singing a song about wanting to ride a train. Its style and content follows the traditions of African American spirituals that connect trains to changes in one's life and salvation. At this point, the baby is the only person that doesn't have a reason to despise him. And that's mainly because she's a baby that lacks the ability to process complex feelings. Troy is alone. Before the action of the story revolved around him. Characters all moved in relation to him. But now his actions have isolated him from everyone, and now he pities himself. Him singing is 100% an attempt to manipulate Rose into taking care of the child and taking him back. So let's see how it plays out. Rose sees the baby for what she is, an innocent born from sin. Troy may have betrayed her, broken the covenants of marriage, but she doesn't blame the child. The biblical allusion that the child should not bear the sin of her father echoes Ezekiel 18:20. Rose accepts the responsibility, but leaves Troy with the coldest of lines that he will continue to be a womanless man. Troy has been brought low. All his bluster has amounted to nothing. Scene 4 is another skip ahead. Rose is more independent and connected to her church. Corey, prevented from pursuing college by Troy, is now seeking a new job. Lion seems to be doing well as a musician, but Troy, he drinks alone. He sings to himself. Bono does appear, but only in passing. Their bond has been broken. Bono invites him to join his other friends for dominoes, but not the pizza, the game. But Troy has drifted. He works in the white neighborhoods, and he doesn't have anyone to talk to on his route. If he had listened to his friend, his life would be considerably different. Eventually, Corey arrives at the house and he wants to enter, but Troy blocks his way. I smell a strike coming. Finally stood up to his dad. The conditions are considerably different, but it plays out very similarly. Corey throws all of Troy's folly at him, from his abuse of Gabriel's government check to his unfaithfulness. Corey has lost all respect for his father and chooses to no longer fear him. As you saw, it didn't exactly work out, and now Corey must leave, but he's now a man by his father's standards. That said, Troy beat his son in a fight, which apparently is his last big win. Riding that win, Troy threatens death one last time. Raynell is 7. Troy has died of a heart attack while swinging his bat at the start of scene 5. Everyone but Gabe has come to mourn Troy's death. Corey arrives in full Marine uniform, while Lyons is allowed to have a day of leave from the workhouse, where he's serving time for cashing other people's checks. Corey mentions that he's engaged and that he also, just to drop that line there, won't be attending the funeral. Looking at Lyons' final state, he's followed closely in his father's footsteps, going as far as to use Troy's own sayings and mannerisms. Corey, meanwhile, has tried to reject his father outright, with his refusal to see off his dad upsetting Rose considerably. She tries to reason with him, telling him that disrespecting Troy doesn't make him a man. Corey tries to explain that Troy was the shadow that loomed over his life. It's at this moment that Rose describes to Corey everything Troy meant to her. Rose basically explained that the best and worst part of Troy was that big personality. He was larger than life, and she was enamored with that. She loved having him as a husband. But by his nature, he diminished her. Like she said, sometimes when he touched, he bruised, and sometimes when he took me in his arms, he cut. Rose essentially explains that every child has the shadow of their parent over them, and as we grow up, we learn to cut out bits and shape ourselves to fill it out. We aren't copies of our parents, but we are the next iteration. Everything Corey received from his father, the good and the bad, was Troy trying his best to be his parent. Each generation that passes is meant to improve on those that came before them, the newest, of course, of which is Raynell. Corey has a chance to talk with his little sister, and it quickly becomes evidence that the rough man that raised Corey had weakened and softened in old age. The strongest impact he appeared to have had on Raynell was a song that Corey also knew about an old dog that eventually dies and goes to heaven. As Corey sings this song, his heart softens and he sees his father for who he was. An old, broken, fallible man, trying his best. I know I've showed a lot of scenes from the film, A lot of scenes. But I love this movie, and I feel like it presents the story exceptionally well. So I'll show the final few minutes before we wrap this up. His appearance and opening of St. Peter's Gate brings the story together. Before really getting to the analytical weeds, I just want to point out that while the story is called Fences, the existence of a fence implies the necessity of a gate. After all the talk of keeping things out or in, Gabe opens the gate and allows Troy's soul to ascend. So Troy gets to go to heaven. Now, depending on your view of the character and his actions, this may be upsetting. That said, let's think about the message. Family has been a major component of the story, as well as the obligation a person has to those around them. Here, the final moment, Gabriel opens the gates, but a core concept of Christianity is that we, through our actions, are unable to attain heaven. It's only through forgiveness that this is possible. Now, in Christianity, that's Jesus' sacrifice. It's what makes the forgiveness happen. But in this story, it's each member of the family having a reason to resent Troy, but choosing to forgive him. While the visual implies that the forgiveness benefits him, we can see how unforgiveness can affect a person's life thanks to Troy's story about his father. There is no question that he suffered. No question that his father was abusive, but forgiveness does not look at the offender and try to justify their actions. Instead, it looks inward and allows the victim to release the pain they've suffered to move on. Corey, in the end, forgave his father. And if he continues the trend and becomes a father himself, he will have to wrestle with his own trauma and will rely on that forgiveness to free himself from the cycle he's found himself in. This story does not have an antagonist. The closest thing would be Rose, considering she wants to keep Troy close while he desires to do whatever he wants, putting them in conflict. But, Rose is also kind of one of the best people in the story, so I wouldn't really consider her an antagonist. They're all just people. They make mistakes. Some more than others, and they deal with the fallout. This concept of forgiveness, of these people that are just living their lives, it's one of the core parts that makes August Wilson's work so intriguing and so impactful, because it feels real. I love this story. And there are other elements that we could analyze, but I'm realizing that this has already gone on for quite some time. I'm curious if the inclusion of so many clips enhanced or diluted the analysis, and would love to hear your opinions. If well received, I may use this method for more plays going forward and any novels with faithful adaptations. Next week, we'll be looking at one of my favorite pieces of propaganda, the Charge the Light Brigade. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Carpe Diem.